Welcome back, coin collectors. Today, we're digging into one of the most fascinating coins in U.S. history, the 1943 steel wheat penny. Made during World War II and struck in steel instead of copper, some of these are worth thousands. Let's uncover the secrets behind this legendary coin. A coin born in the middle of war, a coin made from steel. And if you're holding the right version of it, you could be sitting on a piece of metal worth more than $300,000. This is the 1943 steel wheat penny, and it just might change the way you look at your pocket change forever. Now, you might have seen one of these before. It's that shiny gray penny that doesn't quite look like a penny. That's because in 1943, the U.S. Mint stopped making pennies out of copper. Why? Because America was in the thick of World War II. Copper was needed for the war effort, used in ammunition, wiring, and military equipment. So for 1 year only, the U.S. Mint created pennies out of low-grade steel and coated them in zinc. But here's where things get really interesting. The coin you're looking at has no mint mark. That means it was struck at the Philadelphia Mint, the main hub for coin production at the time. It's smooth, cold to the touch, and if you've ever tried to stick it to a magnet, you'll know it clings right on. That's your first clue: it's steel. Most people think these steel pennies are common, and yes, millions were made. But here's the shocker. Finding one in truly pristine condition? That's a whole different story. Steel rusts, it corrodes, and most of these coins didn't survive the decades in good shape. But a small handful, just a fraction of a fraction, were stored properly. No rust, no pitting, just that frosty wartime shine. And those few are fetching prices that will make your jaw drop. A perfect uncirculated 1943 steel penny, certified by top graders like PCGS or NGC, has sold at auction for upwards of $110,000. But wait, this is where it gets wild. If your coin has a rare double die error, where the text looks slightly doubled from a printing issue, especially on the date or Liberty. Now we're talking the big leagues. Some double die errors, even in lightly circulated condition, have hit $300,000 or more when sold to high-end collectors. And it's not just about grading. Collectors love this coin because it tells a real story. A nation under pressure, materials being rationed, a complete break from tradition. This was the only regular issue U.S. coin ever struck in steel, and it happened just once. Imagine that. A coin smaller than your thumbnail, minted during the most dramatic time in modern American history, now sitting in a dusty coin jar or drawer just waiting to be rediscovered. But here's the emotional kicker. So many people threw these coins away, mistook them for fakes, or let them rot in coffee cans, completely unaware they held a little piece of wartime treasure. That's what makes it so powerful. It's not just money, it's memory, it's history, and it could be sitting in the palm of your hand right now. So go check. Look closely. If you've got a 1943 steel wheat penny with no mint mark, and especially if it's clean, sharp, and untouched by time, you could be holding on to a fortune. A tiny time capsule of American resilience, and possibly one of the most valuable pennies ever made. Now get ready, because this next coin might look like your everyday wheat penny. But don't be fooled by the simplicity of its design or the fact that it has no mint mark. This is no ordinary penny. This is the 1943 Lincoln wheat cent, struck in steel, with no mint mark. And that means it came straight from the Philadelphia Mint, during one of the most unusual years in U.S. coin history. At first glance, it doesn't even look like a penny. It's silver gray instead of copper, almost like a dime, and there's a reason for that. In 1943, America was deep in the chaos of World War II. Copper was a critical wartime material. It was needed for ammunition, radios, wiring, and military machinery. So the U.S. Mint made a bold decision: remove copper from pennies, and for the first time ever, strike them from steel, coated in a thin layer of zinc to keep them from rusting. This was the only year in U.S. history that a penny was made entirely from steel. And while millions were made, not all of them were made equally. The ones without a mint mark were struck in Philadelphia, the largest output that year. But here's the catch. After 80 years, most of them are either gone, rusted beyond recognition, or damaged. A clean, original circulated 1943 steel penny with no mint mark, like the one we're talking about now, is a window into the past. It's a wartime survivor. Now here's where things get exciting. These coins in average circulated condition can still fetch $20 to $100, but collectors are on the hunt for rare errors, and that's where the value skyrockets. One of the most sought-after variations is the doubled die obverse, where parts of the lettering or the date show a strong doubling effect. If your no mint mark 1943 steel penny has that doubling, you could be holding a coin worth $5,000 to $20,000. But wait, it gets better. There's one error that's even more legendary and more shocking than anything else: the accidental bronze 1943 wheat penny. That's right, by mistake, a tiny number of 1943 pennies were struck on leftover copper planchets from 1942. Only a few of these escaped the mint, and even just one verified 1943 bronze penny with no mint mark has sold for over $300,000. Another went for nearly $1.7 million. Now the coin in front of us is steel, not bronze. But that doesn't make it ordinary. Even a well-circulated steel 1943 wheat penny with strong detail, no rust, and no mint mark can be worth hundreds, even thousands, depending on condition and collector demand. But here's what makes this coin truly magical. It tells a story of sacrifice, of ingenuity, of a nation at war doing everything it could to win. It represents a year when the very metal of a penny became part of America's fight for freedom. So when you hold a 1943 wheat penny with no mint mark, you're not just holding a coin, you're holding a moment in history. And if it has the right traits, clean strike, no corrosion, possible doubling, you could be staring at $50,000, maybe even more. Now hold on tight, because this next coin may look damaged, rusted, maybe even worthless, but don't be fooled by its rough appearance. This ugly duckling just might be hiding a secret that could be worth tens of thousands of dollars. We're talking about one of the most misunderstood coins in all of American numismatics, the legendary 1943 D steel wheat penny. At first glance, this coin might not grab your attention. It's worn down, badly circulated, and covered in rust. But make no mistake, this rusty old relic is no ordinary penny. It was born in the middle of World War II during one of the most dramatic changes in U.S. coin history. The government needed copper for the war, bullets, shell casings, electronics. So in 1943, for the first time ever, the U.S. Mint struck pennies out of steel and coated them with zinc to stop them from rusting. But here's the twist. Zinc only goes so far. Once that coating wears off, the steel underneath starts to corrode. That's what happened to this coin. The rust tells us it's seen decades of wear, but it also tells us this coin survived the battlefield of time. And the mint mark, that little D beneath the date, that means it was struck in Denver. And 1943-D steel pennies hold a reputation for surprises. Because while the majority of these coins are common in worn condition, rare errors and die varieties have been found on some 1943-D steel cents that send collectors into a frenzy. There are repunched mint mark errors where the D was punched twice slightly off-center. And even more shocking, some coins show doubling in the lettering or date. If your rusty penny happens to be one of those, even in bad shape, you could be looking at $20,000 to $50,000 or more. And here's where it gets truly shocking. In extremely rare cases, collectors have discovered 1943 D pennies struck on bronze planchets, leftover copper blanks that somehow got mixed in during minting. Only one of those coins has ever been authenticated, and it sold for over $1.7 million. Now, of course, this coin we're looking at isn't one of those, but this proves something powerful. When it comes to 1943 D pennies, anything is possible. Even in this rough, rusty condition, your coin can still command strong collector interest. Why? Because these were made only for 1 year. They represent a one-time experiment, a wartime emergency, a break from tradition. And collectors don't just collect coins in perfect condition, they hunt for rarity, story, and authenticity. This 1943 D steel cent may not sparkle, but it's real, it's honest, and it's part of one of the most fascinating chapters in American coinage, a time when the U.S. Mint had to improvise and millions of these silvery pennies became part of everyday life, only to be thrown away, mistaken for foreign coins, or eaten alive by rust. But some survived, like this one. And if it's hiding the right variety or error, even beneath that rust, this humble little coin could be worth $60,000, $70,000, even more. So don't toss that rusty penny. Don't overlook what time has worn down. Because in the world of coin collecting, it's not always about what shines the brightest. Sometimes, the biggest treasures are hiding in plain sight, covered in rust, and just waiting for someone like you to notice.